A slow start for the Los Angeles Lakers means a very fast end for head coach Mike Brown. Welcome into the Sporting News Studios. I'm Tom Vandervoort, and on the phone with me now our NBA writer Sean Devaney. And Sean, 1-4 of the Los Angeles Lakers. Now Mike Brown is gone. And first of all, how surprised were you that it happened so fast?
Yeah, 5 games isn't much of a chance for a new coach to come in and deal with the new team. This is an entirely different roster that Mike Brown has to deal with than what he had last year, and it's something where you would have thought that he would have had a little more time in order to get these pieces together. Dwight Howard coming back from back surgery. You've got Steve Nash out with the leg injury. To fire a guy after 5 games when you don't have the full complement of players, you really didn't have the benefit of a full training camp with all these guys. That's something that you just don't see much in the league, and I think it surprised everybody, including Mike Brown.
Yeah, and probably his team as well. And it strikes me that it really was a vote of no confidence in the head coach because of all the factors you state. Was it really that they were losing, or sort of how the Lakers were losing?
Yeah, I think it was probably just the general overall lifelessness that the team has showed going back into training camp, that there really has been sort of a lack of urgency on the part of this team. Even in the preseason games, you don't want to put too much stock in those, but they were 0-8, and they were getting hammered in those games. They were losing by an average of about 20 points, and certainly that's indicative of something being wrong. Again, you would think that he would have a little more time to work things out, that the Lakers coming up on a 6-game homestand. The idea was that if they could come out of this with a 5-1 record or something like that, that Mike Brown's job would be safe. But obviously they didn't even let it get that far, and that's something that again, you just don't see that all the time in sports in general, let alone in the NBA.
Absolutely. Now, a lot was made this offseason of bringing in some of the Princeton Offense, some of those ball-sharing principles, maybe take some of the load off Kobe. Is this at all a verdict on that, or does that still have to run its course out there?
Yeah, I do think that the Princeton Offense is taking its share of the blame, probably too big of a share of the blame, because the Lakers, if you look at them offensively, they were fine. They were among the most efficient teams in the league on the offensive end. The big problem here has been the defense, and they just haven't been able to stop anybody. Again, you've got a situation where these guys have not played together much. They're learning each other, and I think that the real holes have shown on the defensive end. You've got Dwight Howard, Defensive Player of the Year, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, who's not 100% yet, and I think he's been asked to do a little too much on the defensive end, and that's really hurt them. That's where the real problem is. So yeah, it's funny that the Princeton Offense is sort of taking all this heat in terms of Mike Brown and them having brought in Eddie Jordan, one of the best Princeton Offense coaches out there, when in fact it's really the defense that's been the problem.
Now, finally, of course, the question then becomes who takes over for Mike Brown, who takes over in the short term, and then who do you think maybe will take over, or who should take over in the longer term for this team?
Well, one of their assistants, veteran coach Bernie Bickerstaff, will take over on an interim basis here. But when you look at the long term, of course, Lakers fans immediately go to Phil Jackson and hoping to coax him out of retirement again. I don't see that happening. Things ended pretty badly with him in terms of when he left 2 years ago. So I can't see that happening. Mike D'Antoni is certainly the most logical fit. He's been a really close guy with Kobe Bryant. Bryant was a big fan of his when his dad was playing in Italy. Mike D'Antoni was his favorite player, and of course D'Antoni has a great relationship with Steve Nash from their days in Phoenix. So he's probably in terms of speculation, he's probably leading things right now. Brian Shaw, a former Laker who was close with Phil Jackson and was the favorite for that job before Mike Brown wound up getting it. He's certainly got to be considered as well. So there's some pretty strong candidates out there. If you go through the list, those guys, and you've got Jerry Sloan as a possibility as well, maybe Nate McMillan, some real veteran respected coaches. So the Lakers will have a pretty good choice ahead of them. I would say that D'Antoni's got to be considered the favorite at this point.
Gotcha. And am I safe to assume it won't be Stan Van Gundy?
Yeah, given the way things went with Dwight Howard, and I think you could probably throw Jeff Van Gundy into that mix as well. Pretty safe to say it won't be one of those two guys.
All right, very good. Sean Devaney on the phone with us today. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate your time.